Navigating your way through the ascension process is never easy, and in most cases is tremendously confusing and concerning. Vibe Nation radio hosts Carrie Turcotte and Deane Thomas lift the veils of illusions and speak plain and simple truth about what is really going on. Each week, they will guide you through the latest energy shifts and discuss essential tools to help you on your journey. They will be joined regularly by fellow soul family members who will have a skill or topic to discuss that is important to share. At the end of each show, they tap into the energies of the listeners and see what Spirit has to share with you for the week ahead. If you really want to get to know who you truly are, come and join us now on Vibe Nation Radio, here on the IOM Radio Network.
Hello, and welcome to Vibe Nation Radio, where Deane and myself will help you discover your inner keys to unlock your truth. Isn't that right, Deane?
Absolutely, Carrie. Pleasure to be here. Happy President's Day, everyone, and happy Valentine's Day, because every day is a Valentine's Day here in our world. So here we are on our first show. Where do we begin? Releasing your lower energies or lower vibrations. Is that right, Carrie?
Absolutely. And you and I both know that in order to be able to ascend, we must shift our vibrations and learn to embrace our shadow side, or the boys will get the best of us, especially in our 3D reality.
Yep, absolutely. And one thing everyone should remember, this is a very unique journey. It's very personal to yourself. And one shouldn't be distracted by illusions of others' opinions. It's your journey and your journey alone. And as Carrie said, it's about confronting yourself and dealing with your shadow self. One of the exercises that I tend to look at quite often is standing in the mirror. Are you prepared to stand in the mirror?
I know I am. And we have to let people know too that you have to do this butt naked. You can't do it with your clothes on, right, Deane?
Absolutely. Never be ashamed to stand in the mirror. Do it selfie standing in the mirror, because that's who you are. That's the core of you. That's who you are. This is something that you can't change. You may not like it, but you have to live with it. So standing in the mirror is a very, very good exercise to get to know who you are and what you are. Absolutely. And this really is the beginning of discovering the true you. Absolutely.
And I know that when I am working with people too, that it's important that when you are looking at who you truly are, that it's so important that you allow your perspective to remain your perspective and not to allow other people's perspective to change who you truly are, which is what really we're trying to help people do by releasing the lower vibrations, because they usually are controlled by someone else or something that has triggered them. Correct?
Here we go. We don't have any scripts here. Carrie and I don't believe in scripts. We just have a few bullet points that we want to talk about. And we're talking from our hearts and from our higher selves. Our higher self comes through loud and clear. We believe in speaking our truth and sharing our words of wisdom and worldly wealth with our fellow listeners, those with the collective, those with our soul family. So we thank you very much for joining us this evening. So lifting the veils, lifting and releasing lower vibrations. Some of the tools I've just mentioned, one of the tools I just mentioned is standing in the mirror to get to know who you are. And one of the things is when you stand in the shower, you're butt naked. You're washing yourself, you're looking at yourself, you're doing whatever you do to yourself, you're cleaning yourself. And we do this every day or every other day or every week, depending on your lifestyle. But this is also part of releasing the lower vibrations, practicing every day something that you do on a regular basis. And inner child is also something that we should be looking closely at, trying to find that child, that innocence, the very core of who you are. Remember, as an inner child, your child is pure, it's innocent. It's not affected by anything that goes on around it. It's influenced by decisions that your parents make or your peers make. And we have to connect with our inner child, because this is where the purity lies. We're not distracted by anything that's going on around us. If somebody says it's going to be 5 minutes, as a child, we don't know what 5 minutes is. We're told it's 5 minutes. It could be 10 hours, but we don't know. It's 5 minutes. And that's how pure and innocent we need to be in our thought processes today.
Absolutely. And it's about going with the flow too, that, when something takes place in your life, that you don't allow the boys to come out, which is what I call the ego, and to just go with the flow, and knowing that there is no wrong or right to what you're doing. Like, don't allow yourself to think that, oh, am I doing this wrong, or am I not doing this right? Or, could I be doing it better? Please know that you are exactly where you need to be right now. And everything that you are experiencing is really in divine timing.
Yep, couldn't agree more. And stranger things happen in divine timing. It is what it will be.
Absolutely.
And one of the...
Go ahead, Deane. You go right ahead. We both have so much to say.
You're in Canada, I'm in Croatia. There's 6 hours between us, but we're so close together. It's unbelievable. And it's great that we reconnected when we did. And one of the things that I practiced a lot as I was going through the early stages of my awakening was trying to find things to stop the boys, or to stop the reaction, the knee-jerk reaction. And this all goes back to, it does go back to your inner child. And there's a famous Hawaiian Dr. Hulu, I believe that's his name, who practices a hupanui. I think it's hupanui. Basically, it's four lines. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. I thank you. When you feel a trigger, or you feel that you need to make a reaction, stop and think and say those four lines of text. And it will change your perspective, because what we're looking for during this awakening process is to learn how to respond and not to react. If somebody triggers you and you feel this urge to say something, as you know, we're in instant gratification society these days. Somebody sends us a message and we need to respond right now, right here and right now. But when you think about it, you actually prepare a proper response, something that allows you to connect with your soul and your higher self, to give a proper answer, and something that you're not going to regret later on. So, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, I thank you. Those 4 lines. There's also a very good meditation that he practices, 16 minutes long. You'll find it on YouTube, Dr. Hulu. It's about getting to your inner child and trying to build this relationship with the inner child once again, to go back to the pure innocence that you were as a child. Because as we get older, we lose touch with that, and our inner child is yearning. It's yearning for attention. It's yearning for that love, our own love for ourselves. And it's important to reconnect on a regular basis with your inner child, to allow that child to become that teenager. As that teenager grows up, it becomes more responsible. And this is a good way for you to control when the boys, or when the ego comes into play, and you're compelled, or you feel compelled to give a response.
Absolutely. And I know that, it's important that people understand that we do live in a 3D reality here. And as the energies on Gaia continue to shift into higher vibrations, it's important to understand that we want to take our 5D vibrations, or 4D for that matter, and our higher self, and bring that into our 3D reality. And in order to do that, it requires a lot of intertwining, and we have to start rewiring. And
yeah, absolutely agree with that. I mean, the intertwining, my view on intertwining is the merging of the mind, body, and soul. These 3 elements of man intertwined are the very core of who we are. And a lot of people tend to do 2 out of 3, and there's a great song about 2 out of 3 ain't bad. But in this case, on the ascension process, all 3 need to intertwine to become this pure being that we are.
Absolutely. And for those who know Deane and I, we use the dynamic trio, where your words, your thoughts, and your feelings are all in match to what it is that you're trying to co-create in your life. Mm-hmm. Because if you're off with one of them, the chances of co-creating that which you desire, will take a lot longer. Your words, thoughts, and feelings must match in order to be able to co-create your desires. And I know that Deane, with the psychology background, rewiring the mind is one of the most difficult things you can do during the ascension process.
Oh, definitely. It's a day-to-day challenge of looking at yourself, judging yourself, and asking yourself questions. And the psyche is one of the things that most people that I come across in my day-to-day life are afraid of. And fear is one of those things that does lead to a very difficult ascension process, or awakening process, whatever we want to call it. And this is because we're so afraid of what has happened in our life, in this life and in our previous lives. But these are the core of who we are. Yes. And getting to the psyche is one of those things that is a challenge, but it's a challenge that you've already completed. It's just releasing these suppressed feelings, emotions, these suppressed incidences that have happened throughout your lives. And I use the plural lives because it does come from your previous lifetimes also. When you start to go into the psyche, you're confronting them, you're acknowledging them, you're processing them, and then you're reprogramming those thoughts and filing them away and releasing them. And what tends to happen after this is your subconscious thoughts start to filter through into your day-to-day thoughts. And these are being released also. These are sometimes released through dreams, through visions, and you're witnessing things that you've previously experienced. And as you're going through this ascension process, this will become more and more apparent in what you're doing in your psyche work. And it's a sure sign that you are on the right path to discovery.
Yeah. And I know that we are going to be breaking in a moment. So when we get back, Deane, I really want to talk about that exercise that we do called the condo in my head. I think this will help people understand that, you know, throughout your life, you actually run into people that end up causing you pain or sorrow or lower your vibrations. And sometimes they become dormant and they've been stuck there for years and years and years, but you keep yourself prisoner to this. So I believe that this is something that is going to help all the listeners today to be able to do the releasing of the lower vibrations.
Yep, it's a great exercise and I thoroughly recommend it. It is something that will help you to get to the core of you and to help you release these lower vibrations that may or may not be from yourself. So I believe we'll go into a commercial break very shortly, if not now. So we'll join you back in a couple of minutes' time.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
Hi, this is Julie Geigel.
I'm Maggie Chula.
And I'm Catherine Glass.
And we're the Psychic Angel Channelers. Join us every week here on OMTimes Radio for Angel Talk Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time.
The angels have heard your call and are here to help.
Are you ready to receive?
Remember your magnificence with Angel Talk Tuesday.
Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Have you ever wondered what is blocking your greatest prosperity in any aspect of your life? Do you know that in this moment, you're actually creating your own reality? At New One Universe, we know how to access those programs, and we offer a radical way to clear and release the negative blocks and reset your soul blueprint. Come join us at newoneuniverse.org, Facebook/New One Universe.
Hey ladies, do you want to have that good hair day feeling all the time? Gentlemen, would you want your special someone to have that glow, letting you know she's feeling completely satisfied? This feeling and that glow can be yours by embracing your sexual power. So join me, Rachel Kenley, award-winning romance author, on the O-Spot. The O-Spot will guide you to that peak with guest interviews, book discussions, and conversations on the thrills of sexual empowerment. Put the zing back in your life. Come up and see me sometime on the O-Spot, live on Hump Day at 10 p.m. Eastern.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
So here we are back again.
Back at Vibe Nation Radio. I know Deane enjoyed that little commercial, and I can hear him laughing. So why don't we take that laugh in and explain to people about this condo in my head exercise. And please know that you can find this by either emailing us or going to the website where you will be able to find this. But this is going to allow you to understand that, you're on your own unique journey here, and no two people are on the same soul journey, and that there is no wrong or right. There is no finish line to this, and this is not a race. So it's important to start dropping the labels and the opinions of what other people think about you in order to be able to move forward with who you truly are. And I know that as a medium that, I have to trust in what is being channeled to me by spirit, and that I can't allow my ego to jump in to say, oh, no, that's not correct. And it's the same thing, because we're all intuitive, my friends. Every single person on this planet is psychic. And when you understand that you control your own destiny or your own reality, you can take a stop and just think about this to say, who is actually telling me how to live my life? And this is where this exercise comes in. And do know that this is an exercise that you don't do once and that's it. This is a process. And for myself, I've been on the spiritual journey all of my life. But when I really started to wake up was back in 2008-ish, I would say. And I have been on this ascension process ever since. And I am still to this day, still evicting people from my condo. And I just want you to know that, it's important that we all understand this, that it's not a one-time thing and then the lower vibrations are gone. This is an actual process. Right, Dean?
A process, yes, a never-ending process, but it gets better as the journey goes on. And, Carrie mentions the condo in my head exercise, which many of us do on a day-by-day basis in different guises. But Carrie and I like to use some happy-go-lucky, fly-by-the-seats of your pants terminology that resonates with people to bring some humor into their lives. And condo in my head basically is to appreciate those gemstones and other beautiful things, golden nuggets, as Carrie would say, those beautiful things beautiful things and people that have contributed to your life, and give thanks to them, appreciate them and who they are and what they are to you. Giving thanks to these people by writing letters to them, and keeping those in a journal is a very, very good exercise of appreciating them, and it helps you understand who you are and how you are appreciated. And then we go into the eviction notices. It's not your landlord knocking on your doorstep; it's you as the landlord knocking on the doorstep of the people that you believe need to be released from your life, and writing down on a piece of paper and evicting them. Send them eviction notice, send them whatever you feel inside of you, and get it out of your system and write it on a piece of paper. And Carrie's going to tell you what to do with that piece of paper.
We're going to burn it, aren't we?
Absolutely.
And, this is just to help you understand that when you are evicting people, you need to know that you are the number one tenant. You live in the biggest penthouse in your head amongst everyone else. And when you start to see and appreciate people for their golden nuggets and gems, golden nuggets are personal attributes that somebody has, and everyone has them. So every single person on that eviction notice will actually have golden nuggets. Gemstones are different, though. Gemstones are a beautiful feeling that someone made you feel that you haven't felt before. For example, mental stimulation. I know Dean gives that to me. We're constantly back and forth. And it's allows you to understand that when you get into the process and you start to talk about the boulders, the stones, and the pebbles, which is the negative or the BS they put you through, that there's a reason to why you did that song and dance with them. And you will notice that those that actually give you the gemstones are the ones that have probably hurt your soul the most, or have allowed you to control, or go down a different path than where you were supposed to go, that their perspective came in and changed your perspective of who you are. And for many, when you do these eviction notices, you're evicting the 3D soul contract and saying, see you later, bye-bye. I've learned what I need to learn. I'm grateful for what I've learned. However, in my 5D condo, which is the state of consciousness of love, you will not be shifting over. But then there's those that you know that are coming with you. They're true loved ones, they're friends, they're soul family members. And these are people that push your buttons every day. Family's big for that. But you're not evicting them from your life and saying, get out of my life, you're no longer there. Not all of them anyway, some of them you might. But for those that you know that push your buttons, you just write them a letter and get it out, and then you're going to burn it so that the next time you have a conversation with that person, guess what? You're not still dwelling on something that they said to you the week prior to, because really, my friends, we are living in the now. We are living in the moment. And whatever happened prior to what happened, like, right now, what happened an hour ago doesn't really matter. We are now in the moment, and it's really important to do that. And by doing this exercise, it will allow you to live in the moment, because then you'll have your bliss list, is what we call it, where you'll turn around and you'll be able to create those golden nuggets and gems. And then you put a bliss list together of those beautiful gemstones. So all of a sudden, somebody comes and they push your buttons and you get triggered, or the boys come out. And what do? You think about that beautiful moment. Like, oh, I remember those beautiful conversations. Oh, wow. And guess what? Now you've allowed your vibrations to stay at a certain level. You haven't allowed them to be lowered because of what you just experienced.
Yep, absolutely. Then we've got the snapshots, I think, Carrie. Yeah, the snapshots.
Yeah, the snapshots.
When the dynamic trio vibration is that,
Yes. And the snapshots are when you take a snapshot of, where you'd like to be. Like I tell people, go ahead of time. Don't go, next week, because sometimes it's very difficult to be able to co-create something next week when you're supposed to be living in the moment. So take a snapshot of something. It could be that you're walking down a beach, holding someone's holding their hand and, and talking to them. And you want to ensure that your words, your thoughts, and your feelings of what it is you're trying to desire are in match, but you're only there from about 2 to 10 seconds. You're not going into fantasy land and living in la la land and 20 minutes later, because what ends up happening when you first start to release the lower vibrations is that if you go into fantasy land for too long, believe me, the boys will come out and they will bite you in the butt, because we're so programmed to co-create the end before it begins, or to worry about the end before it even begins. Correct, Dean?
Definitely. Absolutely. Yep. We are our biggest friend and we're our worst enemy when it comes to co-creating the ending of before it's begun, or halfway through something we've predetermined the end. And what we transmit, what we emit as humans, as spiritual beings, is what we're going to get back. So if we're transmitting, let's say, lower vibrations, lower frequencies, be sure this is what's going to come back and confront you on a day-to-day basis. So it is about releasing what haunts us. We can use the word haunt because this is our ego haunting us. Past lives do haunt us if we don't confront them and we don't deal with them. So it is important to acknowledge all that we are, not just what we are today or yesterday or last month or last year, what we are throughout all of our life. And even better, to acknowledge where we've been and what we've done in previous lives. And this is a fundamental success path to reaching a successful ascension. Not that there's ever a successful ascension, because an ascension is an ongoing process. It's every day you will have something to release. And if you have no fear about who you are, which goes back again to looking in the mirror, you are who you are. That picture, that snapshot is you. You are what you are. If you're not afraid of that, you've already done it. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's only your ego that's going to make you afraid. And fear, as we know, is one of the biggest ego traits of the human species. We live in fear on a day-by-day basis.
Absolutely. And it's important that you understand, too, that as we're going through this process that, we are a soul in a human body having a human experience, and with that comes feelings and emotions. So when we're talking about releasing your lower vibrations, I don't want you to feel that you have to beat yourself up when the boys show up. It's embracing them and acknowledging that, oh my gosh, here we go. I'm starting to fear this again. And when you acknowledge it and embrace it, you're already halfway there, my friends. You don't need to, stay in that high blissful state 24/7, because honestly, it's almost impossible to do that. We are human. We're here to have a human experience. And with that comes the ups and downs. So I don't feel that it's important that you beat yourself up. Just acknowledge them. That's really what it comes down to.
Yep. Acknowledgement, processing. What do you feel? Write your feelings down on a piece of paper. These are all useful tools. I normally tend to advise people or guide people into keeping 2 journals, one for good vibes, one for not so good vibes, and keep them separate. Don't mix the two together, because
Absolutely.
This is not good vibing.
Yeah.
You know, this is why we're called Vibe Nation Radio, you know?
Yeah. Well, and for myself, I mean, I don't even keep bad vibes. Anything that it comes out of my journal writing that is of a lower vibration, I just burn it. I do not want that energy around me. I just want to release it. And knowing that this is a process, that if I have to continue writing letters for another 8 years on top of the 8 years I have, so be it. But I know that those that I used to write letters for that were 20 or 30 pages long, they're down to a couple paragraphs now. You know,
that's getting shorter and shorter. That's great.
Exactly. And that's what people need to understand, that the letter at the beginning might be difficult. You might cry, and, you know, it might be very emotional to be able to get your true feelings out. However, at the end of the day, when you go and burn that, and then you focus only on the beautiful golden nuggets and gems, something magical starts to happen within your soul. So the next time they appear in your condo in your head and they start holding you prisoner, guess what? You're able to go in, write another letter, but this letter is now half the length as it used to, because it's like we're peeling the layers of the onion, and that you can't go too deep into the core or peel the onion too quickly, or you will cry. It's actually not beneficial to go too deep too quickly. This is a process, and people must understand that, because you can do damage to your soul if you go in too deep too quickly.
Yep, the same with psychology. Actually, it is an ongoing process, and you know, I like this assimilation to an onion. It is an onion being peeled. The layers are coming back, and as we peel back these layers, it does cause tears. And crying is good. Crying is a release. Never be ashamed to hold back the tears and fight them. Let them go. Release them and embrace what you're feeling, and then you can let it go. It's the same as if somebody's triggering you and you feel like you need to say something back to them. Don't be afraid to say something back to them. Once you've said what you need to say, then let it go and move on to the next thing. The most important thing is learning to live and let it go. So we're going to go to a break now. We love commercial radio.
And we'll be back very soon. A couple of minutes. See you then.
The cutting edge of conscious radio. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
What if living didn't have to be so serious?
What if you could move beyond your problems with greater confidence and ease than you've ever imagined?
Throw your labels out the window and join the Irreverent Therapist for practical tips and a very different way of approaching the changes you would like to create.
Marilyn Bradford
and Pam Hodling
have empowered hundreds of people to come out of self-judgment, quit looking to experts, and begin to create the lives they desire.
Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Irreverent Therapist Show.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Have you ever wondered what is blocking your greatest prosperity in any aspect of your life? Do you know that in this moment, you're actually creating your own reality? At New One Universe, we know how to access those programs, and we offer a radical way to clear and release the negative blocks and reset your soul blueprint. Come join us at newoneuniverse.org, Facebook/New One Universe.
Looking for inspiration?
Want to be inspired?
Not sure where to go?
Find Mark and Kim every Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on Inspired Living.
Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience and all things spiritual.
Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
The future of internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
Welcome back to Vibe Nation Radio with Carrie and Deane.
Hi, everyone. I'm still smiling here. It's great.
And what we're going to get into next is really to help you understand a little bit more of what the boys are all about, or what we call the ego. And I break them down into various categories. So the boys is the overall term, but then I have Mr. Ego and his tribe, which consists of Mr. Fear Monster, Mr. Anxiety, Mr. Procrastination, the list goes on. And then we have the 5W clan, is what I call them. And this is the who, what, where, why, when, and how. And then we have the word posse. And that's Mr. But, Mr. Maybe, Mr. Can't, maybe someday, and we need to understand that our words, our thoughts, and our feelings do become our reality through vibrations. So if you're thinking of procrastinating or you've got anxiety going on and your words are saying, but maybe someday I'm not really sure if I can do this. I'm not really, whatever it is that you're self-doubting will become a vibration. So it's really important that you become aware of this as you're going through this process of releasing your vibrations. And one of the biggest ones that, we were talking about earlier, Deane and I, is I want.
Oh, I want. I used to say that as a kid. I want this, I want that. And you know what? I got nothing. Want is a demand. It's a demand with an expectation. We should change this word to I would like. It's just much softer and there's no expectation. And one of the things on this journey that we have to understand, that there can be no expectations. Life is what we make it. It is what it is. So we should change the way we use words. And as Carrie says, words become vibrations, vibrations become energy, energy becomes and comes back to meet us face to face. And we wonder why we don't get what we want. Because want is a demand. We can be satisfied with I would like. One of the things I learned from marketing is to achieve a goal is always try to surpass your goal. So if you wanted to drive a Porsche, for example, you'd set your target at a Rolls Royce. If you got to the Rolls Royce, you were happy because you got a Rolls Royce. But if you got to the Porsche, you were even happier because this is what you really wanted, what you desired in the first place. So want is one of those words that should go out of your vocabulary very, very quickly because it's a very demanding, it's a statement, it's a demand, and it has an expectation. And if you don't get what you want, what happens? You lower yourself into a lower vibration.
Yes. And I think it's important that people know as well that you can go ahead and vibe all you want on something. It does not necessarily mean it will co-create in your life, because if it's not part of your soul contract, it won't co-create, my friends. And, with another tool that we can talk about very quickly is that I tell people to get a vibe box, which is basically a visual board in a box. And the purpose of the vibe box is just so you have a date with your vibe box. Meet up with your vibe box once a day or once every couple of days and put things in there that make you feel wonderful, that bring your vibrations to a total bliss level. But if you do put the Porsche in there and you don't co-create the Porsche, don't be disappointed with yourself that you're not vibrating properly, because the car that you're meant to have in your soul contract will appear. And it's important that people understand this, because there's so many people out there that, I can't co-create this, and I've got this on my visual board, or I've got that on my, and I call them vibe boxes because it's your vibe box. If you've got a vision board, chances are other people will see it. And if someone else vibrates on what it is that you desire, and you're not very good at vibrating on what you desire yourself yet, chances are that now you've got other people's vibrations vibing on how it is that you were supposed to get what it is that you just posted on the fridge. It does become difficult. So I always tell people one of the biggest secrets to co-creating is to be able to keep your mouth shut. You know what? Once you've co-created, tell the world. But if you start telling people what it is that you desire and it doesn't start to take place, you will start to lower your vibrations, because you might think there's something wrong with you, not realizing it's actually a part of your soul contract not to have that.
Yeah, I've had a few Mini Coopers in my life. I've never driven a Porsche though. Yeah, but it is, how we say things is a classic way of giving something out and not receiving it how we expect it to come back. And expectations are something that we're living in an instant gratification society. This is something we expect somebody to reply to our email or to a phone call or to a message that we send, and this is an expectation that needs to change. If you send somebody a message, let it go. If they reply, they reply. If they don't, it doesn't really matter. Nothing really matters anymore. Appreciate the moment that you're living in. Live in this moment. Don't worry about tomorrow. Live today as if it's your last day on this planet, and live in joy, harmony, peace, and in love. Yes. And we touched earlier on. I'm going to go back to psyche, Carrie, because I think something is coming through me.
Okay.
It's the psyche element is one of the most challenging things for man, as I said earlier, and it is confronting what has happened. And once we release it, it is gone. It will never come back to haunt you. And this is one of the things that as we get older in life, more mature in life, we've got so many of these unsolved issues in our life that we can release very, very quickly because they're baggage. And baggage is a term on the spiritual journey. Baggage is anything that's running around your psyche that's plaguing you or troubling you. Relabel it as something else. And, send it out, send it away, banish it, let it go in love and light. That's what I had to say about that.
Absolutely. Well, and that's another thing about the 5W clan. So many people right now want to know, who's going to show up in my life? When are they going to show up? How is it going to happen? And, when you're doing this, you are lowering your vibrations because you're not living in the moment. And it's important that you realize that we are living in the moment, and able to do that, you have to embrace the unknown. So there's the 5W clan gone right there. If you can embrace the unknown, you will say goodbye to them because you will not be questioning the who, what, where, why, when, and how at all. Right? So, the boys or the ego and their tribe is a little bit more difficult to release because we are programmed with fear. We are programmed with doubt, as well as, anxiety. And I know a big one that a lot of people have is procrastination. Mm-hmm. They think, but they never do. Mm-hmm. And, in where we are today with the vibrations, that you can go ahead and vibrate all you desire, but if you don't take action on it in our 3D reality, it's still not going to co-create.
Absolutely. Actions speak louder than words.
Absolutely. And, what we're trying to say here is that as you shift in vibrations, yes, you're moving up into higher dimensions and are able to pull that wisdom down into your 3D reality. But a lot of people do get stuck up in 5D.
Oh, and I know lots of people like that.
and they're not, and you can go ahead and live in 5D if you'd like. It's a beautiful place. But believe me, it's not doing you any good if you don't bring that information or bring that knowledge or wisdom back into your 3D reality and do something about it.
That's what I was trying to think about earlier. That's what I was trying to say earlier, Carrie. It's, you use the terminology 3D reality. I'd use the terminology, this is where we are on this physical plane. And as we go through clearing the psyche, our higher consciousness is free to come down to replace what we've released from our physical consciousness. And this is the perfect balance of living in a loving way in this dimension as we speak, until the vibrations and frequencies of Gaia are raised higher, is living everyday life with 5D conscious thought process in your 3D everyday life. And that is something that takes time. It's part of the process. It is a struggle. I would be a fool to say that it's not a struggle, and it requires work. It requires you to do the work. We, as advisors and counselors, can give you the tools and to guide you and to give you some knowledge and wisdom, but we can't do the work for you. There's nobody out there that can wave a magic wand and say you're going to be cured in 24 hours. It's impossible. It goes back to this peeling the onion. You go straight to the core, and you will fall apart, and you will fall apart in a bucket of tears. This process can take years, it can take decades, it can take months, but it's a hard hard daily work with yourself. And it is important that you take this quality time for yourself to heal yourself and to really put, it's like investing in the stock market. Why would you invest in the stock market if you know that the stock's going to fall? Invest in yourself. Invest this time and energy in yourself to become the true spiritual being that you are and live a full, loving, empowered life.
And as you're saying that, my living room is filling up with spirits. I guess they're getting ready to do that big message we're about to do. But Deane, I just heard your grandmother say, talk about I can't. Oh,
I can't. We can do anything we want to. Nothing is impossible. This is one of the things that I always learned as a kid was you can't do this, you can't do that. I can do anything I want to. We can do whatever we want to, and nothing is impossible. If you set yourself a target, always go for it. I remember setting up my first business, the banks, I went to 1,000 banks and prospective investors, and they said, no, 1,000 no's. And I still kept going, and 1,001 said, yes, maybe. And I took the yes, maybe. And from there, I grew a business, a successful business. And this is pure self-determination. It's self-belief. It's all about empowering yourself into believing that I can't doesn't exist, because you can. You are worthy of everything that you would like to achieve. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of the life that you deserve. If you invest that time and energy in yourself, you will achieve success. It doesn't need to be monetary success. Money is superfluous anyway. You just spend it. Why not have a perfect, loving life with loving friends and loving family, and mixed with people that really appreciate who you are and love you for who you are?
Absolutely.
And you love yourself.
And you get rid of the N''T that we learned as a child. This is something that we were programmed. And bringing the inner child out requires us to get rid of the N''Ts in so many words.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting, and I believe we're actually about to go to another break. So what I'll do is I'm going to tap into the energies and come back with a universal message, and it will tie into all that we've been talking about. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Carrie.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
Welcome to The Gathering Around My Kitchen Table on Equilarium FM, Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join my guests as we integrate spirituality into everyday reality with vibrant conversations, inspired interviews, and my latest channeled guidance to inspire and brighten your day. I'm Claire Johnson, and together we'll be raising vibrations across the nations.
Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Have you ever wondered what is blocking your greatest prosperity in any aspect of your life? Do you know that in this moment, you're actually creating your own reality? At New One Universe, we know how to access those programs, and we offer a radical way to clear and release the negative blocks and reset your soul blueprint. Come join us at newoneuniverse.org, Facebook/New One Universe.
Live with medium Lisa Phoenix, Mediumship Messages and Musings, explores mediumship and all things metaphysical. Lisa Phoenix invites you to reach above and beyond your everyday experiences, to explore new dimensions in the spirit world. She will do live readings to connect callers to their loved ones in spirit, shares engaging stories and teachings from her own personal experience, and will have intriguing conversations with other mediums, spiritual teachers, and healers to help you understand the metaphysical world so you can connect to these forces in your day-to-day life. Join your host on this magical and metaphysical journey into the world of spirit every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time.
Bringing you the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. your conscious lifestyle on steroids.
Well, that was back again so quick. That was a quick commercial break, wasn't it, Carrie?
Yes.
How's the living room?
How's my living room? It's full of spirits.
A full house in that. Wow.
Everyone's gathering, and I got to really. I knew that the message that I was going to get for the listeners today was going to have to do with what we've been talking about. So what I'm getting from Spirit right now is that it's really important that a lot of us take the time to do the condo in my head exercise and actually start to do some evictings, because it's kind of like the flame has gone out in an area of your life, and the universe is saying, you know what, it's time to relight that flame within you to be able to move forward. And it has to do with the fact that they're saying that we have choices to make right now. Do we go this way or do we go that way? Or do we just kind of sit here and wait for somebody else to make that decision for us? And Spirit's saying, no, you need to make the decision for yourself. And this is about an adventure that's going to make you feel rich. And it's about creating your home as your sanctuary, they're saying, because there's a lot of people right now, is what I'm getting, is that there's a lot of people that are emotionally not doing too well. And that because they're not emotionally doing well, they're beating themselves up and not seeing that through what you're going through right now, or through the vibrations of crying, because crying is releasing lower vibrations, that you're actually going through a process. So a lot of people might think, oh, what's wrong with me? Why am I feeling this? And Spirit is saying, don't even go there. Understand that you're unconditional love and you have inner strength within you. And instead of focusing on, it's always 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, Spirit's saying, no, you know what? You have a beautiful team. Not only in your physical life, but you have a beautiful team in spirit that wants to be able to help you with this. And they're saying this week we need to take control of our feminine energy, which is the spiritual energy. And it's allowing yourself to open up to higher self, to intuition, to say, yes, I do have a connection with my higher self. And they're saying in order to do that, all you have to do is let your guard down. There's so many people right now that are waiting for more things to be thrown at them. And because of this, you've got your guard up. And that is blocking from Spirit to connect with you and your higher self to be able to co-create that which you desire. So it's kind of like they're saying, relight the flame in your life by doing some exercises, do the condo in my head exercise and go out and burn, and make sure that you are the number one person that you write to this week, because you need to evict yourself first in order to realize that you've been beating yourself up every day for the last 10, 20, 30 years, or however long you've been on this planet. You've been beating yourself up. So by making that choice and following your inner strength and guidance, and they're saying do this in your home. Find a place in your home that is your sanctuary. It could be a certain room. It could be outside in the garden, because we do need to ground, and Spirit's telling me to say that to Deane, that we need to talk about grounding before we leave. And that, to know that we are a team, that we do have Spirit here to help us. And we also have our loved ones, our soul family members, that are going to allow us to go through to who we are. As long as we let our guard down this week, we should be absolutely fine. And next week will be a beautiful week, they're saying. So
that's interesting. Very nice, very nice, very nice. And what did you ask me to talk about? Grounding, that's it. Grounding. What is grounding? Or meditation? What is this grounding meditation? Connecting with Gaia, connecting with Earth. It's not about standing on a square meter of grass or a square yard of grass in a concrete jungle somewhere. Go out into nature. Go out and experience the beautiful things that this planet has to offer us. Throw the mobile phone away, throw the laptop, disconnect from society for a day or two, or even a couple of hours, and go and bond with Mother Nature. Go and find a tree and hug a tree, or talk to a tree. Go and find some water, a water course or something, and go next to water. Water has a very, very powerful purifying effect on our soul. And it allows us to connect with who we are. And one of the things I did experience when I came to this beautiful town that I'm living in now is the closer you are to nature, the less stress and anxiety you have in your life, if any at all. And fortunately for me, I am very much surrounded by nature, and I live in a very small town. So, but before, I've lived in big cities like Moscow and Budapest and Barcelona, where it's full of hive and activity. But I always managed to take myself out into on a beautiful mountain next to the sea, or playing in the sea. And this is what we mean by grounding and connecting with Gaia. Absorb the energies that she's giving you and send back love. And if you're connecting with trees, ask them to use their root network to connect with your loved ones or somebody that you're thinking of, to send the message of love and light to them via the underground network that Gaia has, that Gaia actively has under the soil that we can't see. And that's really connecting with yourself. Lean up against the tree and read a book. Go for a walk in the park. Meditation. You don't have to listen to music to meditate. You can sit on your sofa and just tune into yourself. You don't need music to do this. Go for a walk. Go for a jog. If one of the other things I teach my students is, if you go jogging every day, you're running, you've got your headphones on, and you're not paying attention to what's going on around you. You're in a rush. Why are you in such a rush? If it takes you 20 minutes, if you go for a 20-minute jog, go for a 20-minute walk and connect with all that is around you and appreciate it. And you will see so much more. You'll be able to see the flowers budding in the morning, or the blossoms and the birds chirping, and you'll be able to hear more and see more. And this is what I mean by grounding and getting in touch with Mother Nature.
Oh, absolutely. And this kind of goes with what we're going to be talking about next week, is how do you shut off the mind chatter? How do you control the monkeys? Mm-hmm. And a famous word, like a very famous saying that so many of us say is, not my circus, not my monkeys. And it's important that you understand this, because when you are allowing other people to start the monkeys to start chatter, you need to be able to stop and say, wait a second here. And you want to be able to throw them a banana so that those monkeys don't turn into gorillas and orangutans. And before you know it, that whole, inner peace that you had, that tranquility of rejuvenating and reconnecting with self, is not going as far as you wish it to be, because you can't shut the monkeys off.
Absolutely true. I mean, I'd like to recap on what we've spoken about. Just, I think people need to hear this a few times, so maybe they can understand what we're saying and what we've been saying. This process is about your shadow side, dealing with your shadow side, acknowledging it, embracing it, and trying to heal it as best you can, working on it on a daily basis to allow this pent-up feelings inside you to be released. Connecting with your inner child. Simple methods that are available. You can send us an email if you want some guided meditations or something like that. Send Carrie or I an email, and we'll send something back to you. The same with the exercise, the Vibercise, as Carrie calls it. If you need a copy of the Vibercise, it's a detailed list of what we've talked about, condo in your house, the snapshots and things. Send us an email. We'll drop you a copy of it. The homework. I'd like to give you some homework. And I think the homework should be something like taking a picture of yourself naked in a mirror. Look at that selfie. And are you brave enough to look at it, accept it? You may want to delete it. But I would suggest you keep it and repeat the exercise in a month's time and see how your mind thinks about that image, that beautiful image that you are in that picture. Because you are a beautiful person. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of positivity, and you are worthy to be loved. But primarily, you should love yourself. Next week, I know we're going to talk about self-love, tapping into this mind, body, and soul scenario. And I really can't stress enough that many of us on the ascension path, or many of you on the ascension path, are managing to deal with two elements of this trinity. That's the matrix. The spirituality in the body is very easy to get in touch with. Getting into 5D, where you can get lost in La La Never Never Land and be happy go lucky and live in a fluffy nice world. But the third element is the psyche. The psyche needs to be processed. Is the one thing that controls us on a day-by-day basis. It allows our body to function. And this is the biggest challenge for everyone. So write down what you'd like to achieve. Write down what you feel. Write down when somebody triggers you. Write down where you feel where it's coming from. And don't be afraid to confront that, because it can never hurt you, because it's already happened. All that can happen with that is to heal it and to send it away and to process it and allow it to sit in another part of your brain where it's not going to harm you or affect you on a daily basis. And you'll find that the subconscious thoughts will come through. and it will release so much more. It may come through in dreams, in not so pleasant dreams, or you may have a Kundalini awakening, or you may have sweaty nights for a few nights, but it's just release. It's releasing all of this lower vibrations that affect us on a day-by-day basis.
Yeah. And I know that if you start to work on the condo in my head, my friends, Spirit is, sorry, they're ganging up in my living room here for one last bowl here. They're saying that you need to let the stress go, my friends. Stop stressing out, because most of the stress that you're carrying right now doesn't even belong to you. You're stressing out of other people's stress, what people are saying or what people are going through, and you're allowing yourself to get involved into their life or their perspective, which is keeping you off track for where you need to go. So I am hearing from the loved ones. Like I said, there's lots of them in here, and I don't even know who half of them are now. So this would be an indication to me that there's a lot of loved ones with me right now, and they're just saying, please, write us a letter. Allow us to help you release this. And if you have a letter you have to write to a loved one on the other side because you're still upset or pissed off or whatever for them leaving or what they did prior to leaving, and you're still allowing that to lower your vibrations, they're saying, please, you can write a letter to us too. It's okay. We understand, because they're in pure source energy, my friends. And they want us to release these lower vibrations so that we can live a blissful, beautiful life. And that's what we're meant to be here on Gaia now, that we're here in the moment, embracing the unknown and knowing that love will truly find the way. So,
there you go.
Thanks
for joining us.
Have a wonderful week, my friends. And Deane and I look forward to seeing you next week. And
we'll talk all about self-love.
Ooh, all about self-love. That's going to be a good one, my friend.
Interesting selfies.
Happy Happy Family Day, my Canadian friends. Happy President's Day for the United States. And for all listening in, have a wonderful day or a wonderful evening wherever you are in the world. And Deane and I will talk to you next week on Vibe Nation Radio. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.